This is Matthew Cratter from Trader University, and today I want to talk about never forget the Luna shells, and not just talking about Luna, but talking about other people who I believe are unscrupulous who've been promoting crypto over the last cycle. I think bear markets, crypto bear markets, Bitcoin bear markets are a time of great clarity, and it's a good time to review these sort of things so we can protect ourselves going forward. I should start with a disclaimer. This video is based solely on publicly available information from the internet. I make some allegations in here. They may be true, they may not be true. I may be misinterpreting the information that's available. And so it's very, very important that you make up your own mind about whether these allegations are true. It's come out in the last couple days. Terraform Labs employees have told the SEC in the US that Do Kwon, who is the founder of Luna and Terra, was cashing out $80 million every single month while he was out publicly pumping this coin. And so this is the main thing I wanted to talk about. It certainly hurt a lot of investors, wiped out a lot of investors. This is something I've been talking about for months. Here's a video from November of last year when I was talking about how Solana billionaires were laughing about how they were going to dump on people. Do Kwon was a particularly bad example of this because he mocked everyone who criticized the construction of his stablecoin or his unstable coin. And he's famous for calling people poor. You still poor. I don't liquidate the poor. I don't argue with the poor. This was usually how he dismissed arguments made against his coin. And this is, of course, a really big red flag that we need to watch out for. It also showed how he was getting much too big for his own head. This I'll link to this thread where it talks about that he may have actually cashed out much more than 80 million per month using a couple DeFi protocols, that he may have cashed out 2.7 billion. This gets very complicated. It's a complicated thread. I'm not sure if it's completely true, though it looks quite credible to me. So if you want to get more of the details of how Do Kwon was able to cash out at the expense of retail investors, you can check out that thread. There's another group that has been very, very responsible for pumping crypto since, call it 2020, when it became clear that Raoul Pal even had nice things to say about XRP. I'm talking about Real Vision, in particular, Real Vision Crypto. There's a lot of very fishy stuff going on, in my opinion. Here's a tweet from Raoul Pal, who is the founder of Real Vision, talking about how I'll read it. Just so we are clear, I'm more than irresponsibly long ETH right now. I now have leverage, but via calls, in other words, call options. This is by far and away the biggest personal position of my entire life by a factor of 10 or more. My view horizon for this part of the trade is 6 to 9 months. Basically, ETH has gone straight down from nearly 5,000 to probably below 1,500 this morning since he put out this tweet. There was never a follow-up to this, of course. I've been warning about Web3. I've been warning about these Ethereum shells for a long time. You can go back and look at this video I made about why Web 3.0 is a scam back in October of 2021 at the exact same time that Raoul Pal was pumping ETH. Here's an article that talks about the nice things that Real Vision had to say about Terra Luna. Real Vision co-founder and CEO Raoul Pal has picked Terra as one of the two altcoins he considers ready to compete with Ethereum. Powell explained that a reasonable number of investors he considers important in the industry are pretty bullish on Terra, thus his prediction. This includes Real Vision's founding partner and GMI analyst, and I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce his name correctly, Remy Tetot. Remy, who took the nickname El Lunatico, has been a vocal Terra supporter. So these are the guys at Real Vision who were very bullish on Luna. Now, it turns out, at least according to Remy, that he put all of his crypto allocation, all of his crypto money into Luna, into a single cryptocurrency, and he reports in May 11th, 2022, that when Luna crashed, he was completely wiped out. He writes, like many of you, I've been wiped out. I'm not going to lie. It hurts. I lost 100% of my capital invested in crypto. There's a lot to discuss, but I need to think about it first. So he wrote a Medium post that you can all read, sort of a post-mortem analysis of this trade. Apart from the fact it's very bizarre for someone who supposedly has this much investing experience to put everything into a single relatively new cryptocurrency. It's one thing to have very, very large allocations to a single investment, as I do with Bitcoin, but this is a much more mature investment. It's been around for 13 years, and it has this history. It has a Lindy effect working for it and all these other things, which we'll talk about later in this video. But it's really weird for a guy to, especially who's considered a sophisticated investor, to put 100% of his crypto into something that just went straight down. But it's interesting, there's actually more to this than we originally thought, at least according to TrustNodes. This TrustNodes article talks about how Do Kwon was making $80 million a month dumping his Luna. But what's most interesting about this article is the sort of rogue gallery that we see here. Here's Do Kwon, the founder, and then we have the founding members and what's called the governing council. It almost sounds something like out of Tolkien or something like that. And look who we have here at the bottom. We have Remy Tetot on the governing council. So here's the guy who said he had 100% of his crypto in Luna, and he never disclosed that he was part of this inside council here. He never disclosed it when they were pumping it. And Corey Clipston has a nice take here as well, that Remy Tetot may be padding his resume, pretending that he went to Harvard Business School when he just took one class at Harvard Business School. So I'll link to this. I'm not sure this allegation is true or not, simply because I'm not on LinkedIn, so I can't log in and see this, and Remy may have changed it after this screenshot. But this would help to explain why someone was willing to put 100% or pretend to have 100% of their capital invested in Luna when they were secretly on the council. And this is certainly something that I never heard Raoul Pal or Remy Tetot disclose when they were talking about Luna. This is a major material fact that any honest group who is following the law would need to disclose. So the lawyers among you, take note. There looks like there's some possibly some good meat here. Here's a thread from a video from Neil Jacobs talking about how Raoul Pal spent the last few weeks telling people that he was never bullish on Luna, never recommended it, etc. But he goes through here in this video, which I'll link to. You can watch and see. He has all the clips from Real Vision videos in which they're pumping Luna. Anthony Pompliano, Pomp, is another one who's quite guilty of this. If you listen to his interview with Do Kwon, you heard a very, very softball interview in which he talked up Luna, and as he even explains in his own summary, why Terra Luna is something that is good for everyone. It turned out actually to be quite bad for everyone, but Pomp has this history of sort of skirting the line here, pumping or pumping, as people say, Bitcoin affinity scams. And he did the same, I believe, with Stacks. He had Munib on. So this is what venture capitalists do. And it's too bad Pomp has gone down this path. But he's another one who was very bullish on Luna and basically gave Do Kwon a piece of his platform to promote the brand on. Another group that you have to be very careful of is the Bankless crowd. They issued their own DAO and they tried to sell shares in it, etc. And they were unfortunately pumping Terra right at the end. Everything you need to know to get started with Terra, Luna, and UST. This was April 19th, just a few weeks before Terra completely imploded. So again, this is just to shine the light on publicly available information. And so you are able to distinguish between what the crypto crowd looks like and what the Bitcoin crowd looks like. Bitcoin is extremely different, as we're going to see. I made a video about Terra Luna on April 5th, at the same time that Bankless was pumping Terra, talking about the risk of death spirals. And there's a very sad thread down here with Mad Inventor, who lost everything in Terra, and after denying that the death spiral risk was real. So this isn't to toot my own horn or to brag. I just want people to understand the difference between Bitcoiners who don't have anything to sell you and crypto people who are being paid, who are on governing councils, who are promoting stuff and are receiving tokens probably behind your back at a much lower price, or free tokens, while they pump this stuff on YouTube. I do a video here, sort of a retrospective on Solana and Terra Luna, how these crypto pump and dumps worked in some more detail As I said at the beginning of this video, it's very important to recognize that Bitcoin is very, very different from crypto. There's no pre-mine, there was no ICO, no venture capitalists, no VCs or insiders, no CEO, not issued by a corporation like XRP is issued and controlled by Ripple. The founder of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, completely anonymous, disappeared over a decade ago, never sold a single Satoshi or Bitcoin. Unlike Vitalik Buterin, who already we know he's publicly stated that he converted 25% of his Ethereum to fiat. In other words, quote unquote, took profits if you consider fiat to be a profit. Bitcoin, as decentralized as it gets. You don't have a Charles Hoskinson sitting there, or a Joe Lubin, or Vitalik Buterin, or a Do Kwon. And then the other thing I want to focus on here at the end is that Bitcoin has a zero advertising budget, unlike all these cryptocurrencies. And this is why you see these channels that will promote multiple cryptos, because the guys are getting paid behind the scenes. And this is a really an open secret. And here's where I want to share that even as of a few months ago, before this bear market started, I used to get emails almost every day offering me $5,000 to $15,000, usually payable in USDT was the funny thing, to make just a single video promoting a certain protocol or crypto or project. In 2021, I could easily have made 7 figures just from making these kind of promotional videos. And I don't say this to brag or show how virtuous I am for not taking the money. I just want you to know how the incentives work out there, how the huge amounts of money that are available to YouTubers, even with very small channels like my own, because I can assume that if I was receiving these offers, it must be amazing what YouTubers who have double or triple or 10x the audience that I do are receiving. I think it's very important, as I said, bear markets are a time of great clarity. Remember the Luna pumpers and shills, and don't let them forget what they said. Hold them accountable. And likewise with Bitcoin, you should hold me accountable. If Bitcoin ends up being a failure, I will readily admit that, and you should never listen to me again if Bitcoin fails, because I've based this whole channel around it, and I'm willing to go down with the ship if Bitcoin fails. I think there's a 0% chance of this, and we can even see now in the bear market how well Bitcoin is holding up. Nature is healing, all these altcoins are dying, and Bitcoin is again proving that it is the apex predator in money. Bitcoin maximalists are getting ready to welcome refugees from crypto land. And it's very important to take the time to learn the difference between crypto and Bitcoin, as we've talked about in this video. Don't accept any substitutes. This is a very special point in history, and there's so much that can be done with Bitcoin. And these people who are pumping these other projects for their own gain are really setting back history and making this transition away from central bankers and away from the fiat financial system. They're making it much more difficult. And these altcoiners like Pomp, like Raoul Pal, like Remy Tetot, like Do Kwon, they are standing in the way of a Bitcoin standard. So this is one of the nice things about Bitcoin, about crypto winter, that it does shine the light when the tide goes out and we see all these promoters and pump and dumpers who have been swimming naked. I often hear this, at least especially during the bull market, what's the next Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. And if you think that's a tautology, it means you haven't done your research. Watch my videos on this channel. They're all free, obviously, and learn the difference, learn why Bitcoin is such a unique asset in human history and how it's really a one-of-a-kind asset. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video, and let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.